we're going to see how it has evolved and how it has changed. We're going to do this because City Host will help me tell you stories about New York. Now, these stories can take place at all hours of the day, and I can dynamically navigate through our city streets. But first of all, let's get our bearings. Let's figure out exactly where we are and what we can see. Because right now, we're 1,254 feet up in the air, 382 meters. That means we can see all 5 boroughs and 3 states. So we get a lot to see from up here. Now we're right at One World Trade Center. We're on the original World Trade Center site. Everything that's been constructed since September 11th is all new, and that's what we can look at right next to us. Here's our building. So you see those vertical stripes on the side of our building. Well, we are just above that section. Okay, those stripes there are for the vents, the exhaust vents for the elevators in our building. Not just the skypots, but also the elevators that service the rest of the building, because this is a 3.5 million square foot office building. So there's a lot of equipment, there's a lot of things to run this building, and we're just above one section of equipment and below another section of equipment. This is really the highest point for visitors and for the public to come to One World Trade Center. Now, our height here, 1,254 feet, 382 meters. You can see we're quite low down compared to our roof line, because our roof line reaches 1,368 feet, okay? That's 417 meters, 1,368 feet, and that is the same height as the original Twin Towers. That's why our building stops where it does, because they wanted to match the same height as the original Twin Towers. And in fact, there are going to be a total of 5 skyscrapers on this site. None of them will go over the height of 1,368 feet. But our building does go up higher than that, okay, because the ring and the spire that are on top of our building, those count for the total height of our building. Now, the Council for Tall Buildings and Habitats, this is an international organization that ranks and measures all the buildings around the world, because everybody their position, lots and lots of tall buildings are being constructed. Right now we're number 4 worldwide. We're probably going to be number 6 very, very soon, because other buildings have been completed, and so we'll lose our position. But in terms of the Western Hemisphere, okay, in terms of this side of the world, we are the tallest, because right up to the top of our spire, our official height is 1,776 feet. Or as we would say it here, of course, 1776. In meters, that's 541. And 1776 is the year of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We consider that our birth anniversary, the year of the starting of the United States as an independent country. And so that's why our height is that wonderful symbolic number, which is actually the technical height, the official height of our building, 1776. So we use the ring and the spire to bring us up to that height. It is not an antenna. Antenna do not count for the total height of the building. It's an architectural element that's in the roof of our building. Okay, so that's where we are in terms of the World Trade Center. Now we are right on the site. We're right next to the September 11th Memorial and the September 11th Museum. We are not part of that. We're a separate entity, but like I said, our height is the same as the original North Tower. So we sort of remember with our very structure, with our very size. There are going to be a total of 5 skyscrapers on this site. This is One World Trade Center. Number 2 has not even been started yet. You can see it if you look down to the left of the white spiky structure that's called the oculus. To the left of that, you can see all the ductwork where Building 2 will eventually go. To the right of that is Building 3. Building 3 is the one that has all the cranes on it. That's 3 World Trade Center. That's reached its final height, okay? It won't be taller than that. And Building 4 is to the right of that. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the 5th skyscraper is a little confusing, because the 5th skyscraper is actually the first skyscraper to have been built, and it's called Building 7, the 7th World Trade Center, and that's on the other side of us, okay? So we're here in Lower Manhattan at the World Trade Center site, and the island of Manhattan is where everything started. So right down here, this area here is where we have the financial district, is where we originally had the Dutch colony of New Amsterdam. Now, New Amsterdam was founded by the Dutch in the 17th century, and then taken over by the British. Okay, the Dutch are here in the 1720s, the British 1660s. They move in, and the city grows up the island. So as it grows up the island, it also expands sideways. So the island of Manhattan is much wider than it originally was. The name Manhattan actually comes from the native name for this place called Mannahatta, the place of many hills. So it grew up the island, it grew out to the sides, and in the 1870s another section was added. Because New York City is not just Manhattan. It's made of 5 boroughs. Manhattan is one of them. The Bronx is the first one to have been added in the 1870s. That's all the way uptown. If you look up beyond the Empire State Building, you'll be looking up towards the Bronx. That's where Yankee Stadium is. You find Arthur Avenue, a great Italian-American neighborhood. The Bronx Zoo, New York Botanical Garden, Fordham University's Rose Hill campus. Lots of things are happening up in the Bronx. Now, if we go clockwise from the Bronx, you begin into our other boroughs, starting with Queens and Brooklyn. Those are out the windows here to your left. So as you look out to your left, you're looking across the East River, and you're looking at the westernmost part of Long Island. Okay, Long Island stretches all the way out to the east, about 120 miles out there, and you can see, I mean, the visibility is really amazing. You can see all those ships out in the Atlantic Ocean, and you can see the long, pale strip. That's Kennedy Airport. Okay, because our airport's in Queens. Queens is the largest of our 5 boroughs. If you come in through Kennedy Airport or LaGuardia Airport, you've already been to Queens, home to the New York Mets, the U.S. Open, and one of the most international boroughs, the most international borough of all the 5 boroughs. Right here, right next to us, is the borough of Brooklyn. Now, Brooklyn, you can see across the East River, the first bridge is the Brooklyn Bridge. Just remember B for Brooklyn and B for Brown, okay? Brown Bridge is the Brooklyn Bridge. Now, the Brooklyn Bridge is next to the Manhattan Bridge, and then you have the Williamsburg Bridge. If you remember BMW, you've got your East River bridges. Brooklyn, Manhattan, Williamsburg. Okay, it's an old New York City tour guide trick. And now, we're looking down to downtown Brooklyn, and you look out in the distance towards Coney Island. Now, our 5th and final borough is all the way across New York Harbor. And you can see a bridge there that's connecting Brooklyn to the borough of Staten Island. Okay, Staten Island is another island. All our boroughs are islands or parts of islands except for the Bronx, actually. Staten Island is a big old island out there. You can get to it crossing over the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, and the Narrows are named for Giovanni da Verrazzano. He came through here in 1524, who was the first European to arrive here. But the only way to get from Manhattan, let's see if there's one coming. Yeah, there's one across the water already, the Staten Island Ferry. This is a free ferry. It runs 24 hours a day, just like our trains, just like the buses. And so you can take a Staten Island Ferry any time of day or night, about 25 minutes. You get a great view of New York Harbor, get a nice view of the Statue of Liberty, and it's totally free. So from here, it's about a 20-minute walk. Just walk down to South Ferry, and you take the Staten Island Ferry. Go out to Staten Island, take the next ferry, and come back. Like I said, it's free, so don't let somebody try to sell you a ticket. There's sometimes people down there trying to do that. So, those are our 5 boroughs. I mentioned 5 boroughs and 3 states. Well, we're here in New York State, and across the Hudson River, this is the Hudson, it is named for Henry Hudson, he arrived here in 1609. Across the Hudson is Jersey City, New Jersey. Okay, we're looking at New Jersey. Newark is behind there, you can see Newark Airport from up here. And to the right, just going up the river, you'll find the city of Hoboken. Hoboken, the birthplace of Frank Sinatra, hometown to Buddy the Cake Boss, and a beautiful, beautiful park that looks right over lower Manhattan. So if you can, go out to Hoboken. You can take a Hudson River ferry out there, take a pass train, and go out there, and it's a lot of fun. So the 3rd state, okay, we've got 2. We've got New York, we've got New Jersey. The 3rd state you see looking out over to the north and to the east. So if you go to the gift shop and look out the north-facing windows up towards the Empire State Building, you'll see some red and white smokestacks. Those are in Queens, okay? That's a power station in Queens. Anyway, look right above those and you'll see along the coastline, you'll see along the horizon, any line of coast, and that's actually the coast of Connecticut. We're looking across and over Long Island Sound. So our 3rd state is Connecticut. I like to point that out because that's my home state. So we've got all 3 states here. Actually, I used to live in Manhattan, now I'm in New Jersey, so I can see all 3 of my states right up here. So, 3 states, a lot to learn about, a lot to look at. And I get a lot of questions about the islands that we have out here. And one of the most famous ones is that little square island. It's kind of hard to see, there's a bit of a glare. But that square island's got a little causeway there. That causeway wasn't there originally because that little island is Ellis Island. Ellis Island, one of the most important historical locations you can see from the observatory. Because Ellis Island opened up as the federal immigration station in 1892. Between 1892 and 1924, approximately 12 million people came through Ellis Island. Of those 12 million or so people who came in through Ellis Island, 98% stayed in the United States. And that's why 1 in every 4, maybe 1 in every 5 Americans can trace their heritage right through Ellis Island. And every day, I've worked here for almost 2 years now, and every single day I meet somebody up here whose family originally came through Ellis Island. This was the main point for immigrants coming from Eastern and Western Europe. So how did it work? A lot of people ask me, they're like, that's such a little island. How did they get all those people there? And how did they get those big steamships there, those ocean liners? Well, the ocean liners didn't stop there. Okay, the ocean liners actually didn't stop there. They'd come through the Narrows, the bridge is from 1964, so the bridge wasn't there. But they'd come through the Narrows and go up along the Hudson River. They would dock up near Chelsea Piers, the area where the High Line is. That's where the Hudson Piers were for the passenger ship terminals. If you had a first class ticket, if you had a second class ticket, you were checked in right there. Okay, because if you had the money to buy those expensive tickets, you were probably a safe bet. You know, they'd let you into the United States, you'd be good to go. Third class passengers were put on smaller ferries and brought to Ellis Island. That causeway in the back, the little road there in the back, that was added by the National Park Service in the 1990s. So there's only one way to get to the island, it was the little ferry boat. So you'd be brought there on a ferry, you'd have your family with you, all your worldly goods, all your possessions, and they give you a very cursory medical check. They check your papers, they check your documents, and the final stop you'd be in front of the immigration official, and he would have in front of him the ship's manifest, and a list of all the people on the ship would match your name to the name on the list, and back and forth, and check you out, and that was the final moment. And once you were allowed to stay, and like I said, 98% of the people who came through Ellis Island got to stay in the United States, you had a choice. You either came to New York City, you could take a ferry and come right to New York City. About a third of the people came to New York City. The rest went to New Jersey. And you can see along the Hudson River, you can see a low red brick building with a black roof and a little pointed steeple. And you can see in the back of train sheds, they're all covered with snow right now because that's the New Jersey Central Railroad Terminal. So that's a train station that serviced the immigrants who were coming here and were going out west. Okay? So say your family was originally from Norway, but you are from Wisconsin. Well, your family came in, through here, went to Ellis Island, and then took a train heading out west. So whether to the steel mills in Pittsburgh, or to Chicago, all the way to California, down to New Orleans, down to Florida, that was the gateway to the west. That opened up to the rest of the United States. And hundreds of trains left from that station every day. But of course, something everybody would see when they were coming into New York City Harbor was the Statue of Liberty, right? She's right there. She's standing out over 300 feet tall, a little over 300 feet tall, from the base of her pedestal to the tip of her golden torch. And she's been out there since 1886. Now I just want to pause for a moment to show you this image. This shows you New York City in the 1850s, 1856 to be precise. And this shows the island of Manhattan because at the time, New York City was just here in Manhattan. So here you can see looking at the Hudson River. Here's the Battery. Here's the seaport area. Here you can see the Lower East Side. This is really the view you get when you're looking out our north window. Statue of Liberty wasn't here yet because she was a gift from the people of France to commemorate the alliance, the close alliance between the United States and France, and to show a great concept right here because her full name is the Statue of Liberty Enlightening the World. Okay, the idea, the French philosopher Edward Labounier wanted to celebrate the alliance between France and America, but also this idea, this concept of liberty, and liberty enlightening the world, because she does not face us, and up on the sunlight, so it's kind of hard to see. But when we look at her from up here, we're actually looking at her left side and her left shoulder, because she holds the golden torch of liberty in her right hand and shines it out to the rest of the world. The idea that the liberty is coming from us, it's going out to the rest of the world. Now, Labounier was a great French philosopher. He was a lover of freedom of all kinds, and actually he conceived the idea of the Statue of Liberty in the 1860s, after the American Civil War, which is why the statue she has the broken shackles of slaves at her feet. She holds in her right hand the torch, and in her left hand she has a tablet with the date July 4th, 1776, the date of the founding of our country. Her robes are the robes of a classical goddess. Reminds us that democracy originated in ancient Greece. She may represent the Roman goddess of Libertas. And she is made of copper. She was paid for by French donations. The base is made of granite and American donations paid for the base. Actually, one of the things that took so long to get the statue together was getting enough funds to build that base, to get enough funds from American donors. So, what we have here is a close-up view of the statue, and you can see her characteristic bright green color. Now, this bright light green is the natural patina that copper develops when it's been outdoors and then oxidized. And actually, I was reading about it, it makes up about 5% of the surface of the statue, and it protects her. That's what we need to keep her safe and sound, to keep her hale and hearty, because she's very thin. She's very light because it's made of sheets of copper. The French artist who designed her, his name was Frédéric Bartholdi. And so he took great sheets of copper, they were about ½ an inch thick. They were beaten over wooden frames. The technique is called repoussé, and they're actually the thickness of 2 pennies stacked on top of each other. So if you take 2 pennies and put one on top of another, that's how thin the statue is. She's like a giant hollow chocolate Easter bunny, because she's riveted to a great iron framework. And the iron framework that holds her up, that was designed by another famous Frenchman, a man by the name of Gustave Eiffel, the same guy who then built the Eiffel Tower. And when he completed the framework, the iron framework for the Statue of Liberty, was the tallest iron work in the world. Now, this is a view of the statue when she was undergoing her conservation treatment in 1986 for her 100th anniversary. And at that time, they actually substituted that framework by Eiffel with a stainless steel one, because his framework was made of iron, and it was creating an electrostatic charge between the copper and the iron. It was degrading the statue, but they had to take it out and redo it. So now she's in good shape. She's been out there for over 100 years. Hopefully she'll be out there for much longer than that. Now, her full name, like I said, Liberty, the Statue of Liberty Enlightening the World, Lady Liberty, the Statue of Liberty, but she has another name, a wonderful name. She's called the Mother of Exiles, the Mother of Immigrants. She is a great symbol of welcome into the United States. And the poetess, Emma Lazarus, she wrote her fantastic sonnet, her sonnet to welcome people into the United States. That was part of the campaign to raise funds for the base of the statue, actually. And you may know the famous lines, give me you're tired, you're poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. And she says, I lift my lamp by the golden door. The golden door? Well, not Ellis Island, not just New York, but all of the United States. The golden door opening up to a land of opportunity. And so for the 98% who came through Ellis Island and who got to stay here, Ellis Island was known as the Island of Hope. For the 2% who were sent back to their countries of origin, it was called the Island of Tears. Now you can go out and visit them. Those are our national parks. The islands themselves are free to visit, but you have to get there. And the only way to get there is with statue cruises. Now statue cruises leave from down at the Battery. They also leave from New Jersey. You can get the tickets online, you can get them right down there. And when tour ambassadors are giving you information about this stuff, we are not getting any kind of commission or anything. It's just to let you guys know. So it's $18.50. The ferries go all day. I think they end, in the wintertime, they end around 3:30 in the afternoon. So you take the ferry and it takes you first to Liberty Island. You can get off and explore Liberty Island. They have free audio guides. It's a wonderful place to visit. Then you take the next ferry, it takes you to Ellis Island. You visit Ellis Island, and then the next ferry will take you right back. Okay, so once you're on the ferry, you're fine, and you get taken all around those islands. They're both included in the one ferry price. Definitely worth it. If you need more details, just let me know. So that's a fun thing you can do. Let's see what else you can do. You may have seen this. This is the Buzz. This gives us information about things that are happening in New York City. There's a Twitter feed right here. These are Instagrams that come right to City Pulse. And we have a list here of what's happening. Now, the tour ambassadors, my team, and I, we put this together for you guys. Give you options and things to do. So Friday and Saturday nights in New York City are great nights for museums. Our museums are open till late. In fact, the Museum of Modern Art is open for free on Friday nights. It's free Fridays at MoMA, starting at 4 o'clock. They're open till 8. The Met is open till 9, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the Whitney is open till 10. Now, if you're not sure what to do tomorrow, you've got a lot of options. We have the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is starting next week. Tomorrow, you can go meet the breeds. I think it's only a $20 ticket. You go to Piers 92 and 94 on the west side, and you can see all the fabulous dogs. And this year, they actually have 3 special breeds of cats that they're showing for the first time. So you can check that out. You can go to Central Park. There's going to be a wonderful, wonderful ice festival with carvings and the silent disco and music and all sorts of fun activities. Or right down here at Brookfield Place, They're ending up the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year celebrations with a dragon dance and other fun activities right here in Brookfield Place, which is just across the street from us. So there's a lot of things to see, there's a lot of things to do here in New York. That's because we've got a lot of great people here. In fact, we've got over 8.5 million people in New York City who come from all around the world. Because 37% of our residents were born in another country. They help make us one of the most dynamic and also one of the most diverse cities you'll ever visit. It's really no wonder we're called the city that never sleeps. So today it's a beautiful afternoon. Enjoy the view, enjoy our city. Stay bundled up because it's pretty chilly out there. But get out and explore our city. Get to know some New Yorkers. Make New York Story a part of your story. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me or any of my colleagues. We're always happy to help out. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Have a great evening. Thank you.